Let's have another one here. Find the values of the other trig functions of theta. If cosecant theta equals -4 and theta does not terminate in quadrant 3. Okay. Ang una natin gagawin, nasaan si theta? Hanapin natin aling quadrant, nasa ang quadrant si theta. So let's have it here. Okay, for first quadrant, ang cosine natin is plus din ang sine. This quadrant, minus ang cosine, plus ang sine. Third quadrant, parehas negative. Parehas negative. And sa fourth quadrant, it's plus, minus. Now, the theta does not terminate in quadrant 3. So, hindi na dito. So, we know that it does not terminate in quadrant 3. So, wala na to. Does not terminate in quadrant 3. And your cosecant theta is -4. Cosecant theta, by the way, is equal to 1 over sine. 1 over sine theta. So, sine theta siya. So, ang involved sa kanya ay y. So, involved sa kanya ay y. And we want y to be negative. Because cosecant is negative, y is negative. Because the value of cosecant is -4. So, we want y to be negative. So, ang negative lang ang y dito ay ito. So, therefore, since wala siya, negative din sana dito sa quadrant 3. But since our theta does not terminate in quadrant 3, so nandito tayo kay quadrant 4. So, our theta lies in quadrant 4. Now, let's draw the triangle in quadrant 4. Oops. So, the triangle should look like this one. Now, the problem is, ang given sa atin is cosecant theta. Cosecant theta is -4. But we know that cosecant theta is the reciprocal of sine. So, cosecant theta is equal to 1 over sine theta. And this is equivalent to -4. So, it means that sine theta is equal to -1 over 4. Okay? Sine theta is equal to -1 over 4. And ito, lagi itong gamitin. Remember, SOHCAHTOA. Sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse. So, if our theta is this, theta, the sine of this is -1/4. That's opposite. This is the opposite over hypotenuse. It's -1/4, but we'll be using 1. So the length of this is 1. And the hypotenuse is 4. Now, we need to solve for this. Gaano kahaba tong side na to? Okay, to solve for that, let's use Pythagorean theorem. Since this is your hypotenuse, let's call this x. Let's call this side x. Okay, so since we have to solve for that, so that's 4 squared hypotenuse minus 1 squared is equal to the square root of this. The square root of this is equivalent to x. So the square root of 16 minus 1, that's equivalent to square root of 15. So this side over here, let's erase this. Side over here is square root of 15. Square root of 15. Now, dahil meron na tayong value nito, we have this value, we already have this value also, and therefore, we can now solve for the other trig functions of theta. So, let's start with by the way, do not forget that your y is negative. So this means, let's put negative here. Doesn't mean that this is negative, ha? Actually, yung coordinate niya dito. Yung y coordinate niya dito, this is negative. So, itong point na to is actually square root of 15, -1. Okay. Now, let's determine the other trig functions of theta. Let's write it over here. So, let's have sine theta, cosine theta, tangent theta, so the reciprocal. Para hindi tayo malito. Cosecant theta, secant theta, and cotangent theta. Okay? Sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse. So it's negative 1 over 4. Cosine theta, adjacent. I'll put SOHCAHTOA here. SOHCAHTOA. Cosine is adjacent. Adjacent is square root of 15. Square root of 15 over hypotenuse 4. This is positive because it's in the fourth quadrant. So positive ang x doon, fourth quadrant. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Opposite is negative 1 over adjacent, square root of 15. So it's negative 1 over square root of 15. Now, if your teacher requires you to put this in, if your teacher, ang gusto niya, naka-rationalize yung denominator, so you still have to multiply this by square root of 15 over square root of 15. Para nag-multiply ka lang ng 1. So, tangent theta can be written as negative square root of 15 over 15. And your cosecant theta is just the reciprocal of this. So, it's negative 4. So, yun yung given, no? Negative 4. Negative, or where's the given? Negative 4, yeah. Cosecant theta is negative 4. Your secant theta is the reciprocal of this. It's 4 over square root of 15. Kung gusto mo i-rationalize yung denominator, the answer will be 4 square root of 15 over 15. Okay? Now, your cotangent theta is the reciprocal of this, so it's negative square root of 15. And there you go.